Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. So, for this video, folks, I'll be speaking about yet another Western film. It's low budget, it's fairly obscured, and that's fine. I talk about these types of movies all the time. And yes, it's a Western film, of course. I tend to talk about old movies to begin with, so why not another? For this one, I'll be reviewing one of the films titled the film called Brand of Hate. Yep, Brand of Hate, folks. Oh, definitely. Of course, as usual, let's talk about the plot, shall we? So let's get into it. Oh yeah. In this film, let's just say that trouble does start when this character named Bill and his two sons move together with his brother named Joe, and they start doing some stuff with cattle, and then let's just say somebody kills Rob's father with Joe's gun. The sheriff and Rob think they did it and they are after proof. So, again, this is one of these types of movies that goes after some kind of proof kind of thing, in the sense that it's a drama kind of movie. Well, at least it feels like it anyway. It's a drama type of film, of course, and that's what they're trying to do in this one. At least that's how it's coming off anyway. But that's fine. But obviously, I don't mind it really when it comes to these types of movies. Why not throw some drama while we're at it? So what's going on here is that there are these two families who are neighboring ranchers, and there was this young young Rod Camp, and let's just say that's definitely is a thing here because somebody's in love with Joe's daughter. Yeah, that's comes into play with a bit of romance, I guess. So there's like an outlaw brother that's involved here, and then his two worthless sons like become involved with this, of course, and just moved in with these peaceful and law-abiding branch of the family. In addition to this cattle from the neighboring ranchers. So yeah, there's a bit of drama with these kinds of stuff, as mentioned earlier, folks. Yes, there has to be somebody that's a corporate, of course. There's somebody that's doing bad stuff, quite obviously. So anyway, that's pretty much what's going to go on in terms of story. Again, with a bit of drama thrown in, trying to make it seem dramatic. Of course, I mean, I don't say why not. There's a villain in this movie, and the villain is up to no good. And the bad person, let's just say, there's a rancher and that has a few skeletons in the closet, so to speak. Just put it that way. But altogether, this gets pretty crazy, as you might expect. I just showed. But yes, this is one of the early Western films I'll be talking about, especially from the heyday. Especially when it comes to this kinds of stuff, and let's just say that things get pretty wild. I just showed it because you had to make it entertaining in some kind of fashion, in some kind of way. So yeah, this is something I would definitely would say that I like the villain. The villain here isn't too bad. He's supposed to be like the head macho of what he wants to do, and he wants to have this grand master plan because he's up to no good. So yeah, the plot itself is fairly straightforward when it comes to these type of stuff. Of course, it's like this good guy versus bad guy type of movie, which yes, quite obviously, a lot of these types of movies that tend to be built upon that. The villain must face the hero, and the hero must take care of the villain in some kind of way. Would the hero succeed in what they're doing? Well, you're gonna have to find out yourself when it comes to these types of movies. You have to find out yourself how this could be taken care of, because the villain is up to no good, as usual. So there's that, of course. So yeah, there's gonna be some action sequences for throughout the entire thing, but again, you do have to keep this in mind that this is a fairly low budget. So of course, it's not gonna be anything like too fancy and whatnot in terms of what they're trying to do. I mean, yes, there's no excuses, of course, but do have to keep in mind that's only so much they can do when it comes to these types of movies. So just keep that in mind. If you want to check this movie out for yourself, so just the same. But it's nevertheless entertaining its own little way. There needs to be a crazy story when it comes to these types of movies. You have to have a story where you have to root for the main character, and but yeah, that's usually the case when it comes to these kinds of movies. Anyway, to begin with, for all things considered, for what it's worth, I didn't think this was too shabby. I suppose. Of course, the film succeeds in what it's trying to do, and like I was saying, it's pretty wild in its own little way. It's pretty entertaining to ride, and it's a pretty decent effort for the time, and definitely one of the better old western films from long ago. I mean, yeah, okay, it may not be super well known, but that's fine, I guess. So let's just say that there is this individual that must be dealt with. Let's put it that way. So, okay, it's pretty much short and to the point, which in some ways doesn't have to be a bad thing. Sometimes I do like when there's just to the point where it doesn't drag on too much, really. So there's that. Of course, there's plenty of this type of movies being made, and yes, of course, I can definitely say that this is definitely one of these types of movies that's enjoyable enough to spend roughly like an hour through, whatnot. I didn't think this was terrible by any means. I liked it. I like the overall idea here. Yes, I know this was definitely meant to be taking place in a time period of the Wild Wild West. I don't mind it really. So in other words, it's pretty much like a period piece at the end of the day. Just fine when you think about it. I guess that's how these movies tend to do. They would usually take place in a period piece, of course. Most of these westerns I've reviewed on this channel would typically do that, take place in a certain time period in the grand scheme of things, and that doesn't have to be a bad thing, really, as far as I'm concerned. So yes, obviously, I wouldn't mind talking about these in the grand scheme of things because I thought these movies can be pretty entertaining in their own way. And I did like the characters that were shown in here. I did like the characters in this movie because they were being shown in its own way where they're trying to do the right thing, even though there's a criminal afoot here. There's a criminal that's trying to do something bad. Yes, the criminal is going to be one of these kinds of guys, these kind of individuals that's going to cause havoc in town, of course. And this person must be stopped. So there's that, of course. Anyway, ultimately, I would definitely say this is recommended for really just for the people who are just diehard fans of the genre. That's about it, really. So anyway, ultimately, I'll give this film an overall rating of a 6.8 out of 10. It's a 6.8 out of 10. Of course, as usual, thanks for watching. Take care. See ya. Oh yeah.